This is my first ever original amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech figure. Some people say it's great, some say it's awful. What will be my experience with it? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna take a look at the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Batman Arkham Knight version that I got from Ami. As I said, this is my first ever original official figure from this line and I'm really excited about it. If you are a follower of the channel, then you know that I have a nice number of amazing Yamaguchi KOs. I've reviewed most of them on the channel and I was so satisfied with those KOs that I finally decided to try and see how will it feel to have an original Revoltech figure in hand. How will the quality compare to the KOs? I love Batman and I love his look from Arkham games, and when they released this guy I wanted it, but initially it was over $100, so I passed. But after a few months his price dropped to $60 on Ami and I decided to get him. I've heard some good things and some bad things about this figure. At this point there are a lot of reviews out there, but if you are still here watching this video, thank you. So let's move forward together and let's see how will I feel about this figure. First, a quick look at the packaging. This is a standard type of box that they use now, with no window showing the figure. Instead we have a promo shot with some text. I do like this side of the box with another promo shot of the figure in the middle of all the writings. Back of the box shows even more dynamic promo shots of the figure, and I love how the cape looks here. On this image here they also show all included accessories. I didn't get this from Kyoto's site, so I didn't get that alternate angry faceplate. I don't like the fact that they are selling alternate heads and faceplates as exclusives, but it is what it is. On the other side of the box we have a few close-up shots. Here is the top of the box with Batman Arkham logo. We have warnings on the bottom, but now let's open it up and let's take a look at this guy. Here is Batman out of the box, and you know what? So far, I love how this guy turned out. He is beefy and bulky and looks menacing even by just standing like this in a neutral vanilla pose. I've heard some people complaining about proportions and height, and even got custom leg parts to make him taller. As I said, this is my first original figure from this line, so that could be the reason why I don't have those issues with it. All of my other Revoltech figures, minus the original 1.5 Joker, are KOs, and they are slightly shorter than the originals, so this Batman will fit perfectly with them. The proportions to me look fine, but again, I'm not a Revoltech expert. All I know is that the proportions and the overall look of their figures are always stylized and cartoonish because of the crazy cuts and joints that are all over the place. These figures are designed with articulation and posing being a priority, and so the figures are meant to be posed in all kinds of crazy dynamic poses. How successful they achieved that on this guy, we'll see in a moment. But in terms of the look, I like what I'm seeing here. Here is a closer look at the head. Revoltech figures usually have cartoonish faces, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but with Batman having most of his head covered with his mask, this doesn't look bad at all, at least to me. Skin tone also looks good, and I like the sculpt of the mouth. The mask is also nicely sculpted. There's a seam line here because this piece is removable. The ears also look good, they are sturdy and sharp, so be careful about that. The collar is a half floating piece that is glued on the back over the cape. Speaking of the cape, here is how it looks. It's a nice leather imitation, it's shiny and it's wired in 9 places that all connect under the neck and the collar. Now, one of the main issues that I've heard people have with this design is that the cape goes underneath the shoulder pads that are glued over it. This limits the arm articulation, but also if you push it too far, it causes the shoulder pad to snap off because the cape moves up and pushes against it. So when you articulate the arms, you want to move them up, it is best to press it against the shoulder pad and do it like this. Also, when you want to bend the wire in the cape, it is best to hold it here and then bend it at this point and not underneath the shoulder pad. And of course, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it is scary to move the arms because I don't want to break anything. But But even if that does happen, I can always glue the pad back on. I've also seen people doing that on purpose because they want to put the cape over the shoulders. So worst case scenario, if these pads break on me, that's probably what I will do as well and give the arms more range of movement. Moving forward with the close-ups, here is how the arms look. The gauntlet looks nice with all of these technical details, and these spikes are also kind of sharp, be careful. The hands look good with these silver knuckles, and here is how the torso looks with the Batman symbol. The symbol and all the armor panels are nice and sharp. The belt has some of the details painted in shiny gold, and it's like that on the back as well. And then here are his bulky legs, and now when I look at it, the lower legs do feel too short, and I'm not sure if they really are like that or if it's an illusion because of the knee pads. When you look at the legs from the side, you can see that it goes higher in the back, but you don't see that from the front. I don't know, it is what it is. But the shins and the feet also look good, and so overall I still think that this guy turned out pretty good. Let's now take a look at his accessories. We get an instruction manual that is on one folded piece of paper. You get a Revoltech display stand that you have to assemble. We get a pair of batarangs, a regular one and a remote control one, and both of these sculpts look pretty good. Then we get few interchangeable hands. A pair of fisted hands is already on the figure, but then we have like a pair of gripping hands, a pair of open hands, and one hand that holds his grappling hook. And in addition to that hand, you get a pair of grappling hook pieces, and these connect to this hand because this part is removable. So we take this grappling hook that is connected to this part here, and we slide that piece inside, and on the other side we have a peg, and the other part of the grappling hook has a peg hole here. So you simply peg it in like this, and now you have a hand holding on to the grappling hook, and you can pose your Batman like that. Then we get two versions of his deciphering code breaking tool, one that is closed and one that is open. And to go along with that, we get 5 different cards that should represent the screens on which he's breaking the code. And as you can see, these are semi-transparent. And for you to be able to use them, they also give you this small add-on piece. We have a small peg hole here, and so you simply peg this piece here. Then here is like a cut in the plastic, and this is where you can insert these panels. So yeah, it's a nice little accessory. And you can do the same thing with the closed version of this tool, because it too has a peg hole. And then, as most Revoltech figures, you get this picking tool. And this one is meant to be used for when you want to articulate Batman's eyes, because this guy does have that feature. So to do that, we need to remove his faceplate, like that. And on the inside of the faceplate, you can see that we have 2 peg holes, so we can use this tool and, for example, move his eyes like he is looking to his left or to his right. And a cool feature to me is that you have the option to move his eyeballs completely, so you can have him with white eyes like this. And I think that this is probably going to be how I will display him. Now, let's take a look at his articulation. The head and the neck give you a nice range of movement. He can turn the head 360 left to right. We get a decent side-to-side tilt. He can look down this much, up this much. We have a standard Revoltech butterfly joint that goes forwards and backwards. Arms go out this much, but in terms of rotation, this is where we'll get our limitation because of the way that this is engineered. So when you move the arms, you have to be careful to move the cape alongside with them. So always make sure to put some pressure with your finger on the shoulder pad. So you're moving the arm and the cape together. We have a bicep swivel, a swivel in the elbow bends this much, then we have a swivel in the wrists, and the wrists hinge in all directions. We have 2 cuts in the torso, one is up here and the other one is behind the belt. So together they will give you side-to-side rotation, a great side-to-side tilt. He can bend forward this much, back this much. These 2 side parts of the belt are on a swivel, so they move up and down, and they move out of the way so that the leg movement is not limited. Legs go out this far. This is how far they go forwards and back. There is a thigh cut. Knees bend this much. We have a boot cut with a swivel in the ankles, and because of this piece of plastic here, feet movement is limited. This is as far as you'll be able to go with that piece jamming into the armor here. Feet move back this much. We have a nice toe joint and a limited ankle pivot. So I have to admit that I'm not not too thrilled with the way that they designed the ankles on this guy. Those could be much better. Let's now compare our Arkham Batman to some other figures. Here is how he scales with Mafex the Batman and the SH Figuarts Dark Knight Batman. Here is how he scales with the Mafex Dark Knight Returns Superman and Battle Damaged Batman. Here he is next to the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech 1.5 Joker and Mafex Dark Knight 2.0 Joker. Here is how he scales with two amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech KOs from AliExpress. We have the Flash and Arkham Knight / Red Hood. And then here is how he scales with some of the Marvel characters. We have again two Revoltech KOs from AliExpress, Venom and 2.0 Deadpool. Here he is with City Toys KO of Revoltech Agent Venom and an AliExpress KO of Revoltech Carnage. Here is how he scales with two City Toys Wolverine knockoffs and with two City Toys knockoffs of Mafex Spider-Man. And finally, here is how he scales with Star Wars The Black Series Imperial Stormtrooper and City Toys KO of Mafex #1, The Amazing Spider-Man. So there you guys go. That was my look at the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Batman Arkham Knight version. After everything I've seen here, even though the figure is not perfect, it has its flaws, especially in the way that the cape goes under the shoulder pads, I would still say that this is a good Batman release. Even with those limitations in the arm movement, you can still get a lot of great and dynamic poses out of this guy. I know that the cape is too big, but I don't mind it. I remember some of the Mafex Batman figures in my collection having the same issue, but it serves well for posing, and that's what I always love to see. I like the sculpt, I like the paint of this figure, and there is also a nice number of accessories included. I would like that the alternate faceplate is in here as well, but unfortunately it's not. At the end of the day, the value of this release will depend on if you personally like it or not. I do like it, and I'm glad that I got it, especially for a lower price that it initially was going for. I do recommend it, but just be aware of some of the limitations made by design choices. It could be better, but it also could be worse. But that's what reviews are for, to show you what to expect. So now, with all that I've said, I would love to hear you guys. What do you think about this figure? Do you like it or not? Do you feel like it's worth getting? Do you already have it, or do you plan on getting it? Are you maybe waiting for the LPZZ release that I've covered here on the channel? Are there some other issues that you have with this Revoltech Batman? Let me know all of it down in the comments. As always, a huge thank you goes to my Patreon supporters for helping me to keep the channel alive. If anyone else can join and help, please do so, because everything that I earn over there goes into the future channel content. If you're interested, Patreon link is in the description. I also offer a channel membership, so if you can, join and become a channel member. And if not, that's also okay. You are still helping simply by watching and sharing my videos. So thank you guys for watching, thank you for being here with me, and I'll see ya in the next video.